In the city of Niterói, local authorities are restricting entry from neighboring Rio de Janeiro, which has the second highest COVID-19 infection rate in Brazil.
It's necessary because the population is not respecting social distancing, and that affects more people. If the virus isn't stopped now, who guarantees that it will be stopped later?
It seems logical enough, but not to President Jair Bolsonaro, who is balking at calls from governors to impose a lockdown. First, he went on a jet ski escapade on the day Brazil's death toll surpassed 10,000 and called fears of coronavirus paranoia. Now, as the toll approaches 12,000, he's issued a decree to allow barbershops, beauty salons, and gyms to reopen as essential services. The prestigious British medical journal The Lancet says Bolsonaro may be the single biggest threat to Brazil's fight against coronavirus. In Chile, the government is also under fire, accused of taking too long to impose widespread quarantines in the capital. Infections have soared from 15 to more than 30,000 in just 2 weeks nationwide, the majority here in Santiago. The death toll is still relatively low, but that's likely to change very quickly. This is the entrance to the emergency room of one of Santiago's oldest and largest public hospitals. The beds in the critical care units are now almost full, and that isn't even the worst problem. It's the lack of nurses and other technicians that are needed to care for patients that need emergency care. The Air Force is airlifting recovering patients to other provinces to share the load. Short-staffed and with 90% of beds taken, the government has declared what it calls the battle for Santiago. Clearly worried, President Sebastián Piñera is overseeing the arrival of massive amounts of protective gear and more ventilators.
En estos tiempos de adversidad,
these next weeks will be very challenging and will require the best of all of us.
y con la colaboración de todos los chilenos.
But many say the government should have done more already, like these mourners who are waiting for a loved one to be brought out for burial. Abel says he lost his nephew and his uncle in less than a week.
Now we're all dying because of the incompetence and greed of our leaders who refused to declare a total lockdown in Santiago. We were supposedly experts, prepared for the worst, but it's a bunch of lies.
More than half of Santiago is now finally under quarantine, but it may be too late to prevent the health system from collapsing, even before Chile reaches the peak of the pandemic. Lucia Newman, Al Jazeera, Santiago.